The cheaper your pleasure, the richer you will be. Samurai Minimalism and Ancient Wisdom Prologue. The empty fortune Marcus sat in his luxury apartment, surrounded by everything money could buy: a 75-inch TV, gaming console, designer furniture, closets full of expensive clothes, gadgets he'd used once. His credit card bills totaled $47,000. His savings account held $340. He earned six figures. He felt poor. That morning, his car had been repossessed. Not because he couldn't afford the payments, he made plenty of money, but because he'd spent it all on 1,000 small pleasures that left him empty. Delivery meals he barely tasted. Streaming services he rarely watched. Upgrades he didn't need. His grandmother called that evening from her small village home. "I'm worried about you, Marcus. Your mother says you're struggling with money." "I make good money, Grandma. I don't know where it all goes." "Your grandfather had a saying," she replied. "He learned it from a Japanese merchant he befriended during the war. Yasui Tanashimi Yutaka na Jinsei, cheap pleasures, rich life. The cheaper your pleasure, the richer you will be." "That sounds like deprivation," Marcus said. My dear." "It sounds like wisdom." The samurai understood this deeply. They lived with almost nothing, yet they were the richest people in their society, not in gold, but in spirit, in freedom, in peace. "Would you like to learn?" "I don't have much choice," Marcus admitted, looking at his repossession notice. "Then come visit me this weekend. I'll teach you what your grandfather taught me. The samurai way of pleasure, of richness, of true wealth." That Saturday, Marcus drove his rental car to his grandmother's village cottage, small, simple, surrounded by a modest garden. "Welcome," she said, greeting him at the door. "Today, I teach you the first principle, wabi-sabi, the beauty of simplicity." She led him to a small room with tatami mats, a low table, and nothing else. No TV, no decorations, just clean, empty space. The samurai, she began, practiced tea ceremony, not as luxury, but as meditation. The entire ceremony, the most important social ritual of their culture, cost almost nothing. Hot water, powdered tea, a simple bowl. Yet it provided more pleasure than any feast. She demonstrated, heating water over a small flame, whisking matcha tea with deliberate movements. "This is wabi-sabi," she explained. "The appreciation of simple, imperfect, impermanent things." The samurai found profound pleasure in a chipped tea bowl, with character, the sound of water boiling, the bitter taste of green teeth, the silence between words, the grain of wood in a simple table. "But that's boring," Marcus protested. "Where's the excitement?" "Boring." His grandmother smiled. "Because you've trained yourself on expensive, intense pleasures. Your taste receptors are burned out. Like someone who eats only hot sauce, they can't taste subtle flavors anymore." She poured the tea into a worn ceramic cup and handed it to him. "Drink slowly. Notice everything." Marcus sipped. At first, it tasted like tea, but as he slowed down, he noticed the earthy flavor, the slight bitterness, the warmth spreading through his chest, the weight of the cup in his hands, the steam rising. "This tea costs $15 for a container that lasts 3 months, his grandmother said. "Your daily coffee shop habit costs $7 per day, $2,500 per year. Yet which provides more presence, more awareness, more actual pleasure?" Marcus had no answer. He'd never actually tasted his $7 lattes. He'd consumed them while scrolling his phone, driving, working. The practice, finding wabi-sabi this week, his grandmother instructed. You practice finding pleasure in simple things. Daily tea ritual, 10 minutes, make tea slowly. Deliberately drink it without phone, TV, or distraction. Notice 5 things: sight, smell, taste, warmth. Sound cost 15 cents per day versus $7 coffee walking without purpose. Walk for 20 minutes with no destination. Notice trees. Sky, birds, textures, light, no music, no podcasts. No phone cost, $0.01 perfect fruit. Buy one excellent piece of fruit, it's slowly, savoring every bite, make it last 10 minutes cost. $2 versus $15 restaurant dessert. The samurai trained themselves to find profound pleasure in the cheapest things. Not because they were poor, they were the elite, but because they understood. Expensive pleasures create dependence. Simple pleasures create freedom. The next morning, Marcus woke in his grandmother's spare room bare, except for a futon, a small table, and a single flower in a simple vase. Why only one flower? He asked at breakfast. Ah, his grandmother smiled. The second principle, ichi-go, ichi. One time, one meeting. The samurai belief that each moment is unique and unrepeatable. They didn't fill their homes with possessions. They kept one perfect thing, gave it complete attention, then let it go to appreciate the next thing. She gestured to the flower, a simple wildflower from her garden. This flower will die in 3 days. But for 3 days, it receives my full appreciation. I don't need 10 flowers. 10 would divide my attention. One flower, fully seen, gives more pleasure than 100 ignored. You have 100 things in your apartment, she continued. How many do you actually use? Actually notice? Actually appreciate? Marcus thought of his closet 40 shirts, but he wore the same 5. His kitchen 20 gadgets, but he used 3. His streaming services 5 subscriptions, but he watched 1 show at a time. The samurai had a practice, his grandmother said. When they acquired something new, they released something old. 1 in, 1 out. This kept their lives from accumulating clutter. The abundance paradox modern culture tells you more is better, she explained. More clothes, more gadgets, more options, more pleasure. But the samurai knew, more options create less satisfaction. Abundance creates poverty of attention. She showed Marcus a study from her village library, modern research on the paradox of choice. People with 30 jam options were less satisfied than people with 6. Too many choices paralyze and dissatisfy. The samurai had few possessions, but they loved each one. They knew their swords balance perfectly. They knew every grain in their wooden cup. They could find their belongings in darkness. You have 100 possessions you don't know, don't care about, don't even remember owning. This is not wealth. This is waste. The practice, one perfect thing this week, his grandmother instructed. Practice single object appreciation. Choose one item. Pick one possession you own, but ignore a mug, a book, a piece of clothing. Spend 10 minutes examining it. Notice details you've never seen. Use only this item for 1 week. 1. Meal excellence. Instead of ordering variety appetizer, entree, dessert, drinks, order one perfect thing, meet it slowly. Completely make it last 30 minutes. Cost $12 Vs. $1 for 5 entertainment. Minimalism. Cancel all but one streaming service. Watch shows completely. No switching cost. $15 month versus $75 month. The samurai didn't deny themselves pleasure. They concentrated it. One perfect experience beats 10 mediocre ones, and costs far less. On the 3rd day, Marcus found his grandmother in the garden, sharpening an old kitchen knife with a whetstone. This knife, she said, was your great-grandmother's? 70 years old. Still perfect? Why not just buy a new one? Marcus asked. His grandmother looked at him with gentle sadness. This is modern sickness. Discard and replace. The samurai had a concept. Matanai, the shame of waste, the honor of maintenance. The samurai maintained their swords daily. not because they were poor and couldn't afford new ones. Because maintenance was a meditation, a practice, a relationship. She demonstrated the knife sharpening, slow, rhythmic, deliberate, 15 minutes, once a month. This knife will outlive me. Will probably outlive you. You buy new things constantly, she continued. Not because old things are broken, but because you never maintained them. You never formed a relationship with them. The cost of disposal culture's grandmother pulled out a small notebook. I tracked my expenses for 40 years. Want to know what I learned? She showed Marcus the numbers. Her kitchen knife, $30 once. Knife set, $200 every 3 years equals $66 year. 150x more expensive her iron pan, $40. 50 years old equals 80 cents year his non-stick pans. $50 every 2 years equals $25 year. 31x more expensive her wool coat, $150. 30 years old equals $5 year his jackets. $100 every year, $100 year, 20x more expensive. The samurai understood. Quality maintained beats quantity replaced. Every time. The practice maintenance as meditation this week, his grandmother instructed. Learn to maintain what you have. Daily maintenance. 5 minutes. Sharpen 1 knife oil, 1 tool polish, 1 pair of shoes, clean 1 item thoroughly, notice details. Imperfections. Character repair instead of replace. Find something broken, learn to fix it. YouTube teaches everything. Spend 30 minutes repairing honor the object by extending its life cost. $0 to 5 versus $50 to 100 replacement, the 30-day rule. Before buying anything new. Wait 30 days if you still want it after 30 days. Consider it most desires fade within 2-week savings. 70% of impulse purchases eliminated the samurai. Took pleasure in maintenance. The rhythmic sharpening of a blade. The oiling of wood. The mending of cloth. These were meditations that cost nothing and returned peace. On the 4th evening, his grandmother prepared a simple meal. Rice miso soup, pickled vegetables. Grilled fish. This meal, she said, cost $8 to prepare. Feeds both of us. Yet, it is a feast. A feast. Marcus looked skeptical. He was used to $40 restaurant meals. Yes, because I am present to enjoy it. The samurai practiced Kansha deep gratitude. They knew gratitude multiplies pleasure. Ingratitude divides it. She demonstrated eating slowly, deliberately, oppressy. Eating each grain of rice, each sip of soup. You eat $40 meals while scrolling your phone, watching TV, thinking about work. You taste nothing, feel nothing, remember nothing. The food is wasted, the money is wasted, the moment is wasted. But I eat this $8 meal with complete presence. I taste every flavor. I feel every texture. I appreciate the farmer who grew the rice, the fish that gave its life, the earth that provided. This meal nourishes me completely. The hedonic treadmill. Modern people chase bigger pleasures constantly, his grandmother explained. This is what researchers call the hedonic treadmill. You get used to any pleasure level, then need more to feel the same satisfaction. She drew a graph. First luxury meal. 10/10 pleasure. 10th luxury meal. 6/10 pleasure. 100th luxury meal. 4/10 pleasure. You've adapted. Need more to feel satisfaction. First simple meal with presence. 8/10 pleasure. 100th. Simple meal with presence. 8/10 pleasure. Presence doesn't adapt. Stays rich forever. The samurai stepped off the treadmill. A tea. They chose pleasures that don't diminish with repetition. Walking in nature, drinking, tea watching. Okay, sunrise. Sunrise, simple conversation creating meditation. These pleasures cost nothing, and they never get old. The practice present pleasure this week, his grandmother instructed. Practice presence with pleasure. Eating meditation. 1 meal per day. No distractions, put down utensils between bites, chew each bite 20 times, notice 5 flavors time. 20 minutes versus 20 minutes versus 20 minutes. Many minutes versus 5 minutes mindless eating. Gratitude before consumption, before eating. Pause, acknowledge where food came from, feel genuine gratitude. Watch pleasure, multiply cost, $0. Benefit, priceless. The pleasure audit. List last week's pleasures and costs, rate actual. Satisfaction, honest, most expensive does not equal most satisfying. Find pattern. Simple pleasures often win. The samurai knew the quality of pleasure depends not on cost, but on consciousness. A $1 tea with awareness beats a $100 meal with distraction. On Marcus's last day, his grandmother took him to a quiet spot in her garden. "You've learned 4 principles," she said. "Now, the 5th. Shin beginner's mind. The samurai's secret to infinite richness. The wealthy person is not the one who has much," she continued. "It's the one who needs little." The samurai were powerful warriors who could have demanded luxury. Instead, they practiced radical simplicity. Why? Marcus asked. Because they understood every expensive need is a chain. Every simple pleasure is freedom. She drew 2 figures. Person A needs $100,000 a year for happiness. Income, $120,000 year. Freedom, 20% buffer equals trapped. Anxious person B needs $30,000 year for deep satisfaction. Income, $60,000 year. Freedom, 100%. Buffer equals free. Peaceful person B is twice as rich despite earning half as much. Because richness is the gap between what you have and what you need. The freedom calculation. His grandmother showed Marcus her own finances. Income, pension plus garden sales. $24,000 year expenses. $18,000 year savings rate. 25% years to financial independence. Already their anxiety level? 0. You earn $100,000, she said gently. You spend $103,000. You are poor. I earn $24,000, spend $18,000. I am rich. Not despite simple pleasures, because of them. The samurai could retire at any moment because they needed so little. You can't retire ever because you need so much. Who is wealthier? The practice, Shin wealth, moving forward. His grandmother instructed. Practice these permanently. Monthly pleasure audit. Track every pleasure and its cost, rate satisfaction, honestly, 1 to 10. Find the cheap pleasures rated 8 plus these. Are your wealth? Multiply these. Eliminate expensive Laura Turth substitution game. Expensive pleasure gives find free alternative. $50 restaurant gives. $10 picnic in park. $200 concert gives free local music. $100 bar. Night gives friends house gathering. $1,000. Vacation gives weekend camping. Quality remains high. Cost drops 90%. Build the gap. Calculate your freedom number. How much do you truly need? Cut everything that doesn't bring real joy. Save the difference. Watch freedom. Row anxiety shrinks with every dollar. Saved. Epilogue. The rich life. 6 months later, Marcus sat in his now simple apartment. He'd sold or donated 60% of his possessions. His place looked like a samurai's quarters. Minimal, intentional, clean. His new expenses, rent, $1,200, moved to smaller place. Food, $300 home cooked. Simple, delicious utilities. $150 entertainment. $15 one streaming service. Transportation, $200 sold car. Bike plus public transit. MISC, $135 total. $2,000 month versus $8,500 before his new pleasures. Morning tea ceremony, 15 minutes. Evening walks, 30 minutes. Weekend hikes, free cooking, simple meals, meditative. Reading library books, free meeting friends at parks, free maintaining his few possessions, satisfying his New life? Debt paid off completely, $3,000 a month going to savings investments on Save. In want, on License. Investments, SON. Track 2, Financial Independence in 8 Years Anxiety. 90%. Reduced happiness. Doubled freedom. Approaching infinity, his grandmother visited his apartment. She walked through the clean, simple space and smiled. "You understand now," she said. "Yes," Marcus replied, pouring her tea in a chipped ceramic cup he'd learned to love. The cheaper your pleasure, the richer you will be. Not because you deprive yourself, but because simple pleasures are actually better, and they set you free. "Your grandfather would be proud," she said, accepting the tea. "You've become a samurai of the modern age. Rich in what matters, free from what doesn't." They sat in silence, drinking tea, enjoying the moment, the cheapest, richest pleasure of all. The 5 Principles of Samurai Minimalism. 1. Wabi Sabai, Che Tea. In simplicity practice, daily tea ritual. Walking meditation. 1. Perfect fruit wisdom. Train yourself to find pleasure in simple things. Result. Freedom from expensive needs. 2. Ichigo, Ichie, Ifrit. 1 time, 1 meeting practice. 1 perfect thing. 1 streaming service. Single meal excellence wisdom. Abundance divides attention. Simplicity concentrates pleasure. Result. Deeper satisfaction from less. 3 Matanai. Honor through maintenance practice. Daily maintenance meditation. Repair instead of replace. 30-day rule wisdom. Quality maintained beats quantity replaced. Result. Items last 20 to 150x longer. Cost plummets for Concha, Gansia. Gratitude multiplies pleasure practice. Eating meditation. Pre-consumption gratitude. Pleasure audit wisdom. Presence matters more than price. Result. $8 meal with awareness greater than $40 meal. Distracted. 5. Shin, true scene. Beginners. Mind freedom practice. Monthly audit. Substitution game. Build the gap wisdom. Richness equals gap between having and needing. Result. True wealth equals freedom from expensive needs. The samurai wealth formula. Modern poverty. High income plus high needs equals trapped expensive. Pleasures equals hedonic adaptation equals need more equals never. Satisfied samurai richness. Modest income plus low needs equals free simple pleasures equals no adaptation equals same satisfaction equals always content. The path. Identify cheap pleasures that bring deep joy. Eliminate expensive pleasures that bring shallow satisfaction. Practice presence to multiply pleasure without cost. Maintain what you have instead of replacing. Watch the gap grow between earning and needing. Freedom increases with every simple pleasure. Mastered. The samurai lived with almost nothing, yet they were the richest people in their society, not in gold, but in spirit, freedom, and peace. This is the way.